Make sure the medical director isn't around when we transfer him to the ICU, my brother said during the family meeting in the hospital cafeteria. Would be awkward if she tried to interfere with the process. My mother, a retired nurse practitioner, nodded. It's just not your department anymore. You're in pediatrics now. I just raised my coffee cup and said, understood. Later that night, I quietly cancelled the transfer authorization I'd expedited through the system and waited. When the morning shift arrived, the patient, our father, was still in the general ward. My sister, the charge nurse, texted frantically, "Fix this now! He needs intensive monitoring." I smiled and replied from my office in the pediatric wing. I didn't think they'd become my enemies that night. Honestly, if you told me 24 hours before that meeting that things would fall apart this fast, I would have laughed. I had been coordinating Dad's care for weeks, pulling strings with department heads, ensuring he got the best specialists. I thought it was going to be one of those rare moments when everything just worked. No medical politics, no family drama, just proper patient care. It was a Friday night shift. The ER, surprisingly calm, the kind of evening that made you think everything would be fine. I had just finished my rounds in pediatrics when I got the page about the family meeting. I walked into that cafeteria like a fool, thinking I'd hear, "Thank you for arranging everything," or at least acknowledgement of my efforts. 3 weeks before, I'd been promoted to Associate Chief of Pediatric Medicine. It came with privileges: access to the hospital's VIP care coordinators, ability to expedite transfers, connections with the best specialists. I didn't tell them right away. I wanted it to be meaningful when Dad needed care. So when Dad's condition worsened, cardiac complications requiring ICU monitoring, I arranged everything. Private room in the new cardiac ICU wing, consultation with Dr. Harrison, the best cardiologist in the state, round-the-clock specialized nursing care. I pulled every favor I had accumulated over 10 years at this hospital. When I finally told them what I'd arranged, I expected relief, maybe gratitude, but what I got instead was something I still can't fully process. My mom gave this half smile and said, "That's thorough of you." My sister, who worked as charge nurse in the general ward, asked if she could still be his primary nurse despite ICU protocols explicitly preventing it. My brother, a hospital administrator, just poured another cup of cafeteria coffee and said something I'll never forget. "Just make sure the medical director isn't around when we transfer him. Would be awkward if she tried to interfere." I thought he was joking. I looked at him, waited for clarification, but he wasn't smiling. My mom didn't even flinch. "It's just, this transfer is going to be about us managing his care. You've got your department now, and that's great, but it's not really your place anymore." I stared at them. My sister was already scrolling through her phone, showing our mom the ICU's visitor policies she wanted to bypass. She didn't even glance in my direction. No one asked what I meant when I said, "Understood." That night, I went back to my office. I sat at my desk and opened the hospital's electronic medical record system. The transfer orders were still pending my final authorization. One by one, I pulled them up, logged into the system with my new credentials, and canceled everything. The ICU bed reservation, the specialist consultations, the expedited labs. It took 15 minutes. The next morning, no one called me directly. They just kept talking in our family group chat about Dad's deteriorating oxygen levels and how the general ward wasn't equipped for his needs. No apology, no reconsideration. They really thought they'd use my position and connections while excluding me from his care decisions. 2 days later, when the morning attending physician made rounds, he noted Dad needed ICU care immediately. My sister tried to push through the transfer she thought I'd arranged. That's when she discovered everything had been cancelled. The first text came from my sister while I was reviewing morning labs in pediatrics. "The ICU says there's no bed reserved. Fix this now." I didn't answer. I just watched it. Then came 3 more. "Why is the transfer cancelled? Dad's O2 is dropping? Lisa, are you seriously doing this?" Still nothing from me. I wanted them to understand the position they'd put themselves in. By then, I was watching the situation unfold through the EMR system. All the orders I'd placed, voided. The specialists I'd contacted, no longer consulted. They tried to get him transferred through normal channels, 6-hour wait minimum for a non-emergency transfer. Then the group chat exploded. Mom, what's happening with the transfer? Sister, someone cancelled everything Lisa arranged. Brother, Lisa, if this is some power play, fix it now. Mom, call us immediately. This is about your father's health. I waited. Let them experience the reality of the system without special access. Then I texted just once. It's not really my place anymore. Silence for about a full minute. Then it exploded. My sister sent 13 messages in under 5 minutes. She accused me of endangering Dad's life, of violating my Hippocratic oath, of being vindictive. She said she'd report me to the medical board, to the ethics committee, to anyone who would listen. My brother started making threats about using his administrative position to make my life difficult. He said I was obligated to help, that I had started this process and couldn't just abandon it. My mom accused me of weaponizing my medical degree against my own family. Around noon, I got a call from my father's attending physician. I let it ring twice. Third time, I picked up. Dr. Chen, your father needs ICU care. Your family says you were coordinating his transfer? I initially offered to help, I said calmly, but they made it clear they wanted to handle his care independently. I'm respecting their wishes. But he needs his family to go through proper channels like every other patient. Unless there's a medical emergency requiring my immediate intervention as a physician in this hospital, I'm staying in my lane. After that call, they went quiet. The full weight of navigating the healthcare system without insider help was hitting them. That afternoon, I made some additional adjustments. My sister had been using my medical credentials to access restricted patient files, not just Dad's, but others she was curious about. I reported it to IT security. Her access was immediately suspended pending investigation. My brother had been listing me as a reference for various administrative shortcuts, using my new position to expedite his departmental requests. I sent an email to all department heads clarifying I wasn't endorsing any of his initiatives. The family group chat tried again that evening. Mom, your father is still in the general ward. Sister, my badge isn't working properly. Brother, people are asking questions about our connection. No apologies, no acknowledgement of how they dismissed me, just panic that their easy access was gone. By the next morning, Dad had been transferred to ICU through regular channels, 12 hours after he should have been, but before any serious complications. They had to work with the on-call cardiologist instead of Dr. Harrison. They got a shared room instead of private, standard care instead of VIP treatment. At 8:12 a.m., I heard someone at my office door. My sister, still in her scrubs from the night shift, looking exhausted. This isn't fair, Lisa. You don't withhold medical care from family. That's not how this works. I looked up from my patient charts. I didn't withhold anything. I simply stopped providing special access you told me wasn't my place to provide. Dad received appropriate medical care through proper channels, just like any other patient whose family doesn't have a doctor pulling strings. She stared at me for a long moment. The ethics committee is going to hear about this. Good, I said. Make sure to tell them how you wanted to violate ICU nursing protocols, how Mom wanted to override visitor restrictions, and how you've been accessing restricted medical records with my credentials. She left without another word. 3 days later, I got a call from the ethics committee. They'd received a complaint about my abuse of position regarding my father's care. The investigation was brief. My documentation was clear. I'd offered to facilitate premium care, been told it wasn't my place, and had respected my family's wishes to handle things independently. The investigation into my sister's unauthorized access to medical records, however, resulted in a 2-week suspension and mandatory retraining on HIPAA compliance. My brother tried another approach, spreading rumors that I was difficult to work with, that I played favorites, that I was vindictive. But my reputation in pediatrics was solid. My colleagues knew better. His attempts to undermine me only damaged his own credibility with the medical staff. It's been 3 months now. Dad recovered and was discharged to a regular rehab facility, not the premium one I could have arranged. My sister still works at the hospital but avoids the pediatric wing entirely. My brother's administrative shortcuts have dried up. He actually has to follow proper procedures now. They've tried various approaches since then. Mom sent a letter saying I'd violated the family bond, that doctors are supposed to help family first. She wrote, "You were never supposed to take medical ethics so personally." But here's what they never understood. Being a doctor isn't just about having access and connections. It's about respect for the profession, for protocols, and for colleagues. They wanted me to use my position while simultaneously dismissing my place in the family's medical decisions. Now I focus on my actual patients, the children who need care, whose families trust my judgment, who don't see me as just a gateway to better treatment but as their doctor. The hospital is a small world. Everyone knows about the family drama now. Some judge me for not helping despite their treatment. Others understand completely. But what matters is that I maintained my professional integrity. They thought being family meant automatic access to everything my career could provide, regardless of how they treated me. They learned that my medical degree, my hospital position, my professional network, none of it was theirs to command while simultaneously dismissing my role. The last I heard, they were telling people I chose my career over family, that I let hospital politics interfere with Dad's care. What they don't mention is how they tried to use me while cutting me out, how they wanted my connections but not my involvement, how they saw my promotion not as an achievement but as their personal resource. I still see them occasionally in the hospital corridors. We don't acknowledge each other. They've learned to navigate the system like everyone else. No special treatment, no expedited care, no VIP access. And my work? It's never been better. Without the constant pressure to bend rules for family, to compromise protocols, to use my position for their benefit, I can focus on what I was trained to do. Provide excellent pediatric care to children who need it. Sometimes, late during a quiet night shift, I think about that cafeteria meeting. How they sat there planning to use everything I'd arranged while telling me it wasn't my place. How they thought they could have it both ways. They couldn't. In medicine, like in life, you can't exclude someone from the team and then expect them to keep playing for you. They learned that lesson the hard way, waiting in the general ward for a transfer that should have been immediate, navigating a system that's unforgiving without connections. And me? I learned that sometimes the best medicine is knowing when to stop treating people who don't want your care, even when they're family, especially when they're family.